If I were to
Whoa!
ask you to
Okay,
give me the name
that's
of
really
the
loud.
worst VTuber
At least for
agency or
me.
corporation to have ever existed, you'd probably
Jesus.
have a hard time choosing one if you've been keeping up with the VTubing industry for these last few years. Most likely though, it would be a choice between two agencies in particular. The first one would be Nijisanji, an agency worth over $1 billion on the Japanese stock.
Honestly, how it's going for Nijisanji? I've only heard less great things about that agency. Not gonna lie, not gonna lie.
Market that almost made one of its top talents leave this planet back in 2024 because of how toxic its internal.
Wait, what? Do I call you 30030? You can call me Zero. Most people call me Zero. I guess that's easier than saying 30300. Yeah, Zero is probably easiest, right?
Work culture truly was. But then you'd probably think, well, that's really bad, but there's also VShojo, one of the most respected VTuber agencies who scammed their top talent out of $500,000.
Yeah, guys, what the fuck was this? What the hell was this? Why would you do this? I don't understand. Like, wasn't VShojo so freaking successful? And then you just throw it down the drain. For what? More money? I'm so confused. Why is it always about the money? Always, 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 always. Oh my god, guys. I have forgotten about the most important part, which is my pen. I need my pen. Here we go. Made so many bad investments, lost all their talents. Yeah! Like, what the hell? I don't understand. It's insane. And it's like, they had such a good rep and so many good possibilities, and yet they couldn't, like, make that into something good. Instead, they just had to swindle money instead. I don't understand.
Dollars she was meant to give to charity. I mean, really, tragically, there's no shortage of examples like this. But what if I told you that both of these answers are wrong? What if I told you that there was a VTuber agency out there that was worse than these two combined? An agency so scummy that they would manage to lose 40 of their talents within less than a year.
What?
An agency so disgusting that they would send lawyers after your fans if they had something negative to say about them. And an agency so unforgivable that they would publish your social security number.
I believe VShojo adding more members made them think it meant more income, but just gave more headaches. Like, yeah. I don't know. I do not understand how the business works, okay? So I'm just speculating. But I mean, they had such big, like, VTuber stars in that freaking agency already. And I just don't understand how they couldn't turn that into something that kept the, like, company going in a, like, a good way. I'm very confused about it.
For everyone to see on your own Twitter account just because you didn't want to renew your contract with them.
There we go.
I'm of course talking about Wactor. And shockingly enough, these events...
Vactor. I have never heard about this agency. Hololive is nice and all, but their talents are actually under strict rules, which is why some are leaving to pursue their own goals. Hololive. Yeah, didn't one of their, like, biggest stars leave? The little shark girl, right? Or is that another agency? God damn, I'm so bad at these things, I swear. Gura! Yes, Gura! Yes. Yeah, I think everyone, like Nijisanji, Hololive, it seems like both those agencies have some strict as fudge rules. That, like, I'm kind of confused why all the rules haven't been leaked somehow. But it seems like there's a lot going on behind the scenes. But I don't know. Maybe the money's worth it. Who knows?
Actually did happen, and they weren't even half of the depraved acts they would pull. And recently, They set a very dangerous precedent, not just for this industry, but for any entertainment industry in general, by pursuing some of these ex-talents in international courts outside of Japan.
Hololive is the goal everyone strives for. It's no secret that a certain member of Rising agency abandoned that for Hololive before the contract. The only agency I know of that is open and doing very well is not openly talked about because their agency and talents lean into the naughty side of the internet. What agency is that? Is it like the Myth Talent agency? Is that what they called? Myth? No, something with M. But they have like a lot of talents, not only like VTubers.
Guys, my jaw was on the floor researching this video, and seeing that this agency not only still managed to exist to this day, but is still being very concerningly dangerous, I thought that we had to talk about it. So you already know the drill.
Mythic, yeah, I think it's that one. They seem to like have a lot of talents. And I haven't heard anything bad about Mythic so far, but maybe I've just missed it. I'm not very on top of these things.
Let's do this right after the sponsor. A special occasion is something that deserves to be celebrated, like a birthday, having a child, or VTUBER launching Global Fest on September 25th.
I don't think I've ever heard about them.
They'll be giving out 10 free polls with the code Etheria0925, a 7-day check-in event, and a free SSR selector where you can choose your favorite SSR character instantly. But that's not all. If you're a returning player, you'll get double drops on materials.
Gotcha game, let's go.
You an SSR character that you select, and so much more, like 14 days full of rewards. You'll need these rewards because there's going to be 2 new SSR characters that look incredible, a new limited skin, and of course, a fresh real-time arena season that includes a new Hyperlinker Cup. The game's really going all out here by even partnering up with some of the top Chinese pro gamers.
My monster.
So if that all sounds good to you, then
it's
make sure
no
to check
longer
the link in the description or the pinned comment and get Etheria Restart on either mobile or PC today. Thank you, Etheria Restart, for sponsoring this video. Alright, so Wactor would unofficially begin its activities on April 2018, when they would post this ad on auctiondebut.com. In this ad, they would say that they're a newly established production team seeking voice actors between the ages of 18 and 28. They would then officially establish themselves as a company more than a year later on July.
Why 18 and 28? That's very specific.
But a couple of months before that, on May 2019, they would announce their first 3 talents, individually and by name. This would definitely be different from other VTuber agencies which would launch their talents in waves or groups. This would allow all the members to have a common identity and collab together to make each other grow. In Wactor's case though, there was none of that. They would stream by themselves in a disorganized manner, and it felt like they weren't even part of the same corporation. I mean, they weren't even collabing together. But Wactor's management didn't really seem to be too bothered by this because in the meantime, they were too busy recruiting more people. A few months later, they would recruit Mitsurugi Leah. That's a name you should remember for later. But I'm not even going to bother telling you the names of the other VTubers, because around the end of 2019, Wactor would recruit 6 more. You know that piece of advice you get when you open a business, which is don't expand too quickly? Well, Wactor was just taking that advice and wiping their ass with it.
Oh my God.
By 2019, this newly established company had 11 talents. Eventually, as
11
get very confusing, they'd finally divide their talents into groups and give them names. The first 5 members would be officially called the Mirage Wave. And the other 6 talents they would recruit at the end of 2019.
How can they afford this?
Part of the second wave, which was called Sister Unit. I know, very creative name. Apparently, it was meant to be called Kemomizu, but they couldn't agree on a name, so yeah, there you have it. Anyway, finally, you'd have the 6th member in their own group because they were meant to be a VTuber that would stream exclusively on Bilibili, which is pretty much Chinese YouTube. So Wactor was already trying to diversify.
Bilibili
debuted 2 different waves. The first one barely...
I freaking love how the chat is on Bilibili. It just scrolls over the entire freaking screen and it's so funny. I love that. I want that.
Got any footing before they decided to announce the second one. And within just a few months, they would start dropping like flies.
Oh.
This was already a red flag, obviously, when you see members of your first wave start to leave in under a year. But this was 2019. VTubing was still niche in Japan.
2019?
Because of that, people wouldn't really look too deep into this, thinking that this might have been caused by some disagreement.
So this was quite some time ago.
Company, choosing to instead celebrate the short legacy of these talents while saying goodbye. So as I said, in 2019, they had 11 talents, and by 2020, okay, by March 2020, they had 6. So essentially half their talent roster had just left within a few months. It was safe to say that this company that had just started was already at death's door. Unlike other more successful corporations, nothing they were doing was
kind of insane.
calculated. It seemed like they were throwing poop on the wall and hoping it sticks. And while that normally wouldn't
I mean,
have
it feels
worked,
like a lot of people are leaving Niji Sanji alone. But I don't know, maybe there aren't that much. But I think, but I have a, but like it feels like I see a graduation thing from Niji Sanji like every week, or at least every month. But maybe that's old.
Wachter just seemed to be in the right place at the time. During the year 2020, VTubing would go from this niche little hobby to a money printing industry in Japan. But big corporations also realized that there was also huge potential in English-speaking markets. In the second half of 2020, many of the bigger corporations would start launching English branches. They would end up finding
Niji Sanji basically salt mines. It's clear someone wants to leave but struggle to. And then there's whole favoritism thing. Oh. Yeah, it feels like either you leave quite early or they stay for a very long time in Niji Sanji. Zero will create her own agency where she's the only sole talent. Yes, the Pond Agency, let's go.
incredible success. Wachter, on the other hand, would take a completely untraditional approach. Instead of starting their own English branch, they would do something completely different. On May 2021, their second generation would debut. Shino Lila, Kurari Rose, Hoshino Suzu, and Hina Misora. And what made these talents special is that while they spoke Japanese, they also happened to speak Spanish. And due to this, Wachter would unexpectedly strike gold. Look, if we take the example of YouTube, Mexico is the 5th country with the most YouTube
Yeah, isn't like Mexico like super popular in VTubing?
viewers. This is just one of many Spanish-speaking countries, and I mean, honestly, Brazil is 3rd. They can probably make an effort to understand Spanish just like I do when a Canadian speaks French. So that's obviously a lot of people. The Spanish language is also very popular on Twitch, with over 130,000 viewers waiting to watch their favorite streams. I also have to mention the fact that the most watched Twitch stream of all time had peaked at 9.
What? What the hell does he stream?
9.1.
What the hell? What? That's like the entire population of Sweden. That's insane. Didn't the cartel actually report one at one point? I have no idea.
Million viewers and was a Spanish live streamer by the name of iBuy.
Oh, guys, guess what candy I have? It's so yummy. Salty licorice.
Second most watched stream is not even half that amount. It's sitting at 2.5 million. This was a market almost every agency was completely sleeping on, but it had essentially
then get stuck in your feet, which is not feet. Did I just say feet? In your teeth. Gosh darns. In my freaking fangs.
been given to Wachter on a silver platter. Their second wave would gain so much popularity that they would start to collab with Niji Sanji live streamers. These collabs typically wouldn't happen through DMs and be spontaneous. No, they would be planned way ahead between the companies themselves. The fact that Wachter was able to collab with a corporation as big and important as Niji Sanji at the time was a testament to how successful their second wave was.
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
The fruits of their labor to finally show, because by July 31st, 2021,
I remember Niji Sanji being huge
that they are
a few years ago.
Top 10 Japanese VTuber agencies when it came to sub count, ranked 8th. This was right in the middle of VTubing's golden age, a very significant achievement. It seemed like those days of Wachter throwing poop on the wall hoping it sticks were long behind us. And with the Spanish community, the sky was the limit. Well, the sky was the limit until they decided to cross a line that no other VTuber agency or corporation
what did they do? What did they do?
dared to cross.
Whinings. Is that how you say it?
Was one of the 4
Twinings?
VTubers that were part of that Spanish-speaking second wave. She, just like the other talents that debuted with her, found immense success with the Spanish-speaking community and were able to truly bring Wactor to the top 10 VTubing agencies in Japan. This is why it was extremely
Niji trying to dominate the market through sheer numbers, but do the whole thing with Sion and the Selena and the Brer. Yeah. I'm not very caught up on the like Niji downfall drama, whatever. But I know it was like a huge thing with at least Selene. Which was just freaking sad, honestly. And then it just felt like a lot of people just left one after the other. And then I heard something about like one of the Thailands harassing the girls in the company, and I was like, oh god, here we go again.
Shocking to pretty much every fan of hers and Wactor when the company would post on November 28th, 2021, a tweet that said, "Notice of suspension of Lila Shino," saying, "We are grateful to our fans for their constant support of our members. We would like to inform you that our company's member Shino Lila has been suspended due to breach of contract. We have already confirmed the facts with her
suspended.
In question. We'll make a decision on how to proceed. We apologize to our fans for any
the whole thing with Selene just blew things wide open. Yeah, seems like it.
Continue to support our members as always. Wactor Corporation, signed by the CEO himself, Akira Oishi." Yeah, so that pretty much came out of absolutely nowhere, and there were over 231 replies, mostly in Spanish.
2021, okay.
Suspension won't last too long, because I do need to make a distinction here. A suspension is different from a termination. She wasn't being kicked out of the company. She was just being told
suspended.
to pause all her activities. It is, however, seen as a bit of an extreme measure, and it's seen negatively because it's typically the first step you take before terminating a talent. But even with all these factors combined, fans remained hopeful. I mean, come on, this is one of the agency's biggest talents. I'm sure they'll find a solution, right? Well, instead of hope, fans would instead be met with complete and utter silence.
Oh no.
That would be
That's never good. That's never good.
2021, so more than a month later, where Shino Layla would post a promotional video of Wactor on her socials saying nothing else. Her page was essentially being used as a marketing tool while the hundreds of fans in the comments were still demanding answers. What the hell's going on? You can't just use her page for marketing without informing us of what happened to her. Well, enough was enough. By the end of 2021, many of her fans had written letters to Wactor demanding to know when her suspension was going to be over and if she'll be able to continue her activities or just end the contract. They wanted to know this. They were getting tired of the silence. At the same time, they would launch a movement.
I don't get why do companies do this? It's so often they just turn to silence. It's like, isn't it proven to be like one of the worst freaking things to do? To just be silent about a very important topic. Like, say something, anything. Give the smallest freaking updates you have. Just something.
And even though the community tried their absolute best to force Wactor to finally say something, they would have to wait months until March 2022 to finally get a statement on what's going on. I'm sure that they had many guesses as to what could happen, how Lila had maybe breached the contract, how Wactor would probably react to their statement. But in reality, no one could have ever predicted the sheer horror that they would face when they'd see their favorite VTuber get doxxed by their own agency. On March 2nd, 2022, Wactor would unexpectedly make a tweet on their company page. Here's what it had to say. Report on the damage claim and lawsuit response to blank blank, which is her real name, in parentheses, Shino Lila. This tweet is still up to this day by
There's no way. There is no way. What? Why would you ever do this? I'm so confused.
By the way, it's been 3 years. They still haven't taken it down. The title of this document was Report on the Damage Claim and Lawsuit Response to blank blank. They would go on to say that this whole thing happened because of her problematic conduct.
What?
It was discovered that you are engaged in VTuber activities, including monetization outside of the company, which is prohibited by the contract.
Oh boy, just what I'm missing from a live giraffe book. Yes, exactly. They were talking about how our like food melting system in our body is taller than a giraffe, and that's why I have to drink this yogurt to take care of it. And I'm like, no, let's move on. I want back to this drama. I need to know what's happening.
her activities were suspended. Even after this suspension,
oh my god, the amount of bots today. Stop! Get away from me. Here we go. Banned. Freaking banned.
she kept her personal account private and acted as if she was the victim,
Banned into
thereby bringing
oblivion.
discredit to the company. It was also confirmed that she instructed her followers not to leak her account to the outside world by taking screenshots of what she said on that private account.
I just spilled Coke Zero over my entire freaking desk. Ah! No. Reported them too. Thank you. Thank you. BRB. I need to get some freaking paper. Oh my god. Coke everywhere. Gosh darn it. And I mean the soda. Nothing white and powdery. Okay, bye. Oh my god. Why am I like this? Why? Why? Let's see if I manage to clean this up. Coke everywhere. Everywhere. At least it didn't go on my keyboard. I'm very happy about that. That's something good. Ugh. 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 Gosh darn it.
Yeah, I think it's fairly
Let's
obvious.
continue.
Waxter didn't really bother hiring any English translators, which is why this is so badly translated. But overall, this entire suspension and them having to dox her in public for no reason was because she had a personal social media account, right? She had a personal YouTube channel, a personal Twitter, and would sometimes use those things instead of being Shino Layla 24/7. They would file a claim for damages against Shino Layla and would also take it a step further by saying that they're working with their lawyers to consider legal actions against literal fans of hers that
But
are
what did she
defaming the
do?
company's
I don't
fans,
understand.
right? We're not even talking about talent here. They would end this by saying that they weren't going to respond to any inquiries on the matter, and that the reason why they took so long to respond to this was because it's a very serious problem. This was the first time that a VTuber company or
It's a
agency
very
had
serious
committed
problem.
the biggest form of taboo you could imagine.
But they don't
VTubers
say
are
what it
VTubers
is.
because they
I'm so confused. I hate when they do this. I've seen so many agencies do this, like, oh, they did something bad, so we have to suspend them. But they can never say what exactly they did, not even within the, like, genre what they did. It's so annoying. Yeah, the company freaking docks them. I gotta warm my coffee for 1 minute and bot sneaks. Yeah. Freaking bots, man. That's the second one today. I'm like, what?
care
Stop.
about their privacy. Their
Get away
anonymity.
from me. I
The
don't
fact that
want
this
you.
company was
Stupid
willing
bots.
to absolutely destroy that anonymity if they had any problems with you as a talent was the worst look imaginable. People were absolutely shocked. Now, usually when someone leaves a VTuber corporation, they also leave behind their identity.
Yeah,
Because
that's
that name,
insane.
that model, the brand itself belongs to the corporation, so they are not legally allowed to mention it.
I wonder how much this, like, corpo VTuber earns. Like for Nijisandi example. Like the people who stay, I think it must be some with, like, it's worth staying. So it must be the money, right? Because it doesn't seem to be like a good place to work at. I'm confused. So confused. I stopped watching Hololive because this crap. Oh. I've honestly not been much of a watcher when it comes to the big agencies, but, you know, you can't really miss them.
They can't say that I used to be this VTuber at that corporation. This is why the response of the woman who used to be Shino Layla would be so significant. She would quote tweet Wachter's statement and say, since this is published by the company itself, so apparently it looks like I have the right to say I was Shino Layla? Am I the first VTuber in history to be doxxed by her own company? Guys, please get me the trophy.
That's
Someone
insane.
then ask,
Insane.
Is it illegal to publicly name someone in this kind of way? To which she would say, yeah, it's illegal, lol, both in Thailand and Japan. She specified this since she wasn't even in Japan.
Sue their
She was
asses.
hot. Now,
Sue
look, this was
their
already
asses.
a lot to take in as a fan of Wachter, especially a Spanish-speaking fan that loved the second wave. But this was still the beginning. On the same day that they
I mean, there's no reason to watch big agencies. The real magic is with smaller VTubers, and will always maintain. Oh, I'm glad you think so. I'm kind of in the same sentiment about that. It feels also like, because you know, in your mind, right? that the big VTuber agencies always restrict the talents a lot. There's so many rules, you know, and that kind of I don't know. To me, that takes away the magic. I'm like, oh, I'm just hoping they're doing good. Okay, I hope they're not stuck in like a super toxic situation and they're actually enjoying their job. That's all I'm hoping.
Doxed Shino Layla, they would also suspend Kurari Rose, another member of the second wave.
No, not Kurari Rose.
That was handed on a silver platter to Wactor was now getting tired of this company that was seemingly going downhill. The top reply to the suspension tweet would say, "Please go indie. This company's going downhill. You can."
Hello, Saku. Hello. How are you?
We'll follow you wherever you go. Members are usually faced with something like this, like a corporation having it out for them. They might back away or silence themselves out of fears of legal repercussions. But what Wactor had done was such a disgusting violation of privacy that the VTubers were not going to just stand idle.
Iconic, you're taking med now? What's med? Do you mean your medicine? That's good. Always take your medicine. I mean, I can point towards a bunch of names who are 100 a million times more real than any agency VTuber. Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm guessing there's a lot of agency VTubers who are very real to themselves as well, but I don't know. I'm happy for you, Sakonic. Is that how you say it? I took my meds today as well. Let's go. High five.
By, especially with the massive support of their fans. And so the woman behind Shino Layla would come back under a new persona by the name of Eileen Noir, and she would tweet this
that's
out
a
almost
gorgeous
a month
model.
later on April 16th, 2022, saying, "I would like to inform you the current situation of me, the person in charge of VTuber character Shino Layla, and a former member of Wactor Agency. Please see full detail in the image below." Here's what she had to say. "First of all, I would like to apologize for causing concern to everyone. My name is Eileen Noir, and I was in charge of the VTuber character Shino Layla at Wactor. The agency contract between Wactor and I, at the latest, have been cancelled by March 2022. However, on the 2nd of March 2022,
this is insane. How was this not a bigger thing?
Report of damages claim and legal action against the person in charge of Shino Layla, which exposed my real name that does not need to be exposed at all to the public. Furthermore, the content posted on that social media is not considered as a fact in my point of view, and it terribly damaged my privacy and honor as it is a one-sided information, which is very shocking to me, and I feel terribly sorry for causing this concern to everyone. As of now, I have signed a lawyer contract to handle all of this matter, so I'll refrain from making any further comment regarding this matter at the moment."
This is so
Moreover,
insane.
like
this is like my worst
nightmare.
nightmare.
Contacted Wactor several.
Like, if I would ever join a VTuber agency and then it goes to hell, and then you have to start like hiring lawyers and shit, like, nah, that's too much of a headache for me. Goddamn, I can barely like leave my bed without a headache. How would I be able to like deal with this shite? I don't think so.
Times in order to discuss our differences in point of views of both parties. However, at this moment, Wactor has never responded. Therefore, I decided to consult with a lawyer once again, and we have determined that this matter is difficult to resolve through prompt discussions, so I decided to post this letter on my social media account in order to inform the situation to all of Shino Layla fans and related parties. Lastly, I'm terribly sorry for causing concern to everyone. As for future activities,
I mean,
would like
it's
to
not
challenge
her
myself
fault,
once again
right?
to deliver entertainment as Eileen Noir. I would like to take this as an opportunity to start a new journey. I will do my best, and I will be very happy if you support me once again. Signed, Eileen Noir. So yeah, there was no reason for Wactor to release her full name. This was
actually
pure and
insane.
utter pettiness. Her contract was going to expire on March anyway, and it seemed like she wasn't really interested in renewing. When Wactor found that out, they suspended her and stopped her from being able to make money, which is why she started streaming on her personal account. At this point,
nah, that's petty as hell. What the?
Cartel. But Eileen wasn't the only one to speak out. Marin Marino, who used to be Kurari Rose, would also release a statement at the same exact time, saying that the reason why the contract was terminated was because her and Wactor have cognitive differences and it is difficult to build a trust relationship. She intended
what the hell does cognitive mean?
Of her contract.
Should I know this?
Wactor took her access away from those accounts and didn't let her go live anymore. She couldn't, and it wasn't her intention. She would then specify that on March 2nd, 2022, Wactor hadn't terminated her, they had just suspended her, which means she's technically still under contract, and they weren't intending on letting her go. They wanted her to stay trapped. Kind of like how they had trapped Layla for months.
No.
She said that she hired a lawyer as well, but that he had not heard back from Wactor. They seemed to be ghosting everyone, and of course apologized to her fans, hoping that they'll follow her on this new journey. So Wactor was truly using every dodgy method in the book here, all in an effort to control their talents and force them to stay with them for extended periods of time, even though they might have signaled that they wanted to leave and not renew their contract. This was very nasty behavior, but it was also concerning.
Yeah, that's
because it didn't seem
insane
like they had
behavior.
any limits. You pissed them off? Well, you're fair game. It didn't matter if you were a talent or a fan. And after these incidents, people were very well aware of that. To say that things were looking bad for Wactor now was an understatement. In total, they had recruited 18 members and 11 of them were gone.
Oh my
Two of
God.
those members were part of their second generation. The generation
Oh
that
my
truly put
days.
them on
This
the
is
map,
not a good
and
look.
one of them got publicly
Not a good look.
doxxed. And what wasn't looking good at all for Wactor is that one of the two remaining second generation members, Suzu Hoshina, hadn't streamed for a long time, making her fans worried that she'd be next to leave. And unfortunately for them, they'd end up being exactly right.
Oh
Her
no.
exit would of course be a bit less dramatic. She wouldn't get doxxed publicly and dragged through the
Well,
mud. No,
well,
she'd
that's
simply
nice.
say that she had a hard time managing her personal life and her professional life. But that's her probably wanting to avoid any drama, because in reality, if a coworker of mine was publicly doxxed by my own company over some stupid bullshit, I'd want to leave immediately too. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what you ended up doing on May 9th, 2022. With only one member
Like,
left from their
why
second
the hell?
generation, and most members having retired.
Why the hell would they dox her like that? It makes no sense.
People thought that Wactor didn't have another year in them, okay? That they were going to close down their doors fairly soon. Well, just like how a cockroach can survive radiation, Wactor would prove itself way more resilient than anyone had anticipated. On July 2022, they would shamelessly celebrate a new milestone. They had reached a total of 200,000 subscribers on all their channels. At the same time, their ridiculous thirst of uncontrollable expansion would continue. And on November 2022, they would open up their first Indonesian VTuber auditions, as well as more auditions for Chinese speakers to stream on Bilibili. And as the idea of male VTubers would go from a very bad joke to an unstoppable enterprise, mostly due to things like the Luxium wave under Nijisanji.
Where is the
Wactor
Swedish
would
wave?
immediately
Come
jump
on.
that train, and by the end of 2022, they would launch
Nordic
their
VTubers
own
when?
VTuber male wave with 3 talents. And if that wasn't enough, as all of this was happening, as they were expanding like crazy, they would also open auditions for Spanish-speaking VTubers, purely Spanish.
Oh man,
This
I
time,
wish
they
I could
weren't even
speak
looking for
Spanish.
Japanese. And so it was definitely weird to see a VTuber company break one of the most fundamental rules of VTubing, all while having over 70% of their roster.
Yeah, that's
leave,
insane.
and yet
That's
they still
insane.
carried on like nothing had happened. But as you might have guessed, that wouldn't last long, because soon enough, the time would come when another one of their talents would piss them off. And what they'd end up doing in retaliation?
Dox
Well,
her.
it would shake the entire VTuber industry to
Oh my God.
its core.
Oh my, like he can say shit like this. Now I'm like imagining the worst of the worst kind of thing to ever happen. Like, how can it be worse than doxing someone? Like, what are they doing? Same, all my friends speak Spanish. I'm the only one who can't. Oh, Sky! That's so sad.
On February 28th, 2023, Wactor would post this tweet saying, "Report on the actions taken against those who slander and defame." So remember how in Shino Leila's termination notice when they doxed her, they said that they were considering going after the fans who are also defaming them. Well, this notice was them saying that they had done that against 4 different fans and went ahead and posted an address of those fans that was partially censored. You could, however, see the country, which is Mexico, the city, and the postcode. Look,
nah,
this
is insane. This is insane.
Her previous talents just because she didn't want to renew her contract, but they were also well known to block anyone who had negative things to say about them on Twitter. Yeah, it seemed like even though this company just kept expanding, they weren't going to let go of this disgusting
Any agency that doxes a member has no leg to stand on it. Any which way we to make. Yeah, like I have no words. I have no words. Zero, what's your top 3 fave animals? Mine are tiger, chinchilla, and tiger sharks. Oh, my 3 top favorite animals. Well, probably cats, dogs. Because I'm very, very typical when it comes to that. Cats, dogs, and horses. I love them horses. They're just so majestic. Honestly.
pettiness. In fact, they were taking it to the next level, going after actual fans of the company and their VTubers and posting their partially censored addresses for everyone to see. Again, I want to specify, Nijisanji, Vishojo, whatever other companies that you think are crazy in this space, no one has ever done this.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, they really went for like random fans. That's insane. Like, people are allowed to have their own opinions and to state them. Dating apps scare me. I've heard so many horror stories about dating apps that I honestly don't understand why people would ever use them.
And as astronomically bad as this already is, it would only serve as the appetizer to the main course that would come later.
What?
So, remember the second wave? At this point, 3 of them had already left and only Hina Misora remained. Seeing that she was the only Spanish-speaking VTuber left from that very successful wave, her channel grew exponentially, becoming not just one of the biggest VTubers in the agency, but one of the biggest Spanish-speaking VTubers in general.
Oh my.
On December 8th, 2022, Wactor would tweet this, saying, Misora Ina is feeling a bit unwell, so she will have to take a break for a while and rest. Surely she also hopes for the same, to return to streaming and spend time with her fans. Thank you very much for your understanding. As well as the sentiment in general was just hope for her to get better as soon as possible. The fans were very supportive and they were going to wait for her no matter how long it took.
Okay.
Except it started taking quite a while. On January 2nd, 2023, Ina Misora would make this very simple tweet saying, Esta hora antoja cereal, which pretty much means that right now I'm craving cereal. Well, I don't know if she knew this, I don't know if anyone could have predicted this, but this would actually end up being the final tweet she would ever make on this account, because after this, no one would hear from her again. People started getting very worried, getting flashbacks.
What is going on?
The woman behind Misora Ina was not going to let that happen. She didn't want her fans to panic for no reason. So a month later, on February 15th, 2023, she would make this statement on her personal account, saying both in Spanish and in Japanese that as of February 9th, 2023, she has terminated her affiliation with Wactor as the relationship of trust necessary for the proper development of activities has been lost. She apologized for any concern she might have caused her fans by disappearing like this.
The fact that she stayed for so long is kind of insane.
The support that she had received after this was huge. She had an incredible community and they all backed her up. I mean, honestly, at this point, they were probably expecting this to happen because look at what happened to the previous talents. And speaking of the previous talents, they would also tweet at the same exact time, the same exact day, an update on what's going on with them and Wactor. Eileen Noir, who used to be Shino Layla, would tell the world that she tried to contact Wactor multiple times, but they've been ignoring her.
Like, this happened 2 years ago.
A year now. She wanted to specify
how isn't this bigger?
They said they'd be also
I've never heard about this.
She wanted to confirm that Wactor was only bluffing, that they weren't actually going to do that. It's clear. However, Marin Marino would also post an update at the same exact day, same exact time, and would say that Wactor did respond to her, but they couldn't reach any agreement. On June 1st, 2022, a lawsuit would be filed by Wactor, which is still ongoing. She'd say that she's convinced that her time as Kurari Rose did not violate any
What is even the lawsuit about?
Prove her innocence. She then went ahead and thanked her fans. It was safe to say at this point that if Wactor had the same market capitalization on the stock market as Nijisanji, for example, all these tweets would have easily caused a bigger financial catastrophe than what happened to Nijisanji in 2024. Still though, this was extremely damaging to the company because their entire audience that they had built was essentially now against them. They had fired every VTuber that they liked, and they fired them in a way where it was clear they were trying to humiliate them. Things weren't looking good, and Wactor knew this. So what did they do? Did they take a step back and maybe think, you know what, let's change how we do things. Let's try to fix some of the things that are making all our talent leave our company. But as you're probably already anticipating by now, they did the exact
of course not.
of that. The extremely
like, who the hell is managing this company?
One of the worst things that have ever been done.
What is going on in their head?
History, and I don't say this lightly in any way. 2 weeks after Meika would post her statement, they would take control of her past account, which is Hina Misora. And on that account, they would post a statement that included her real name, an approximate address of where she lives, and her fucking social security number ID. I want to make this clear. Yes, this actually did
Guys, how is this real? How is this real?
Happen, and it wasn't some sort of mistake or miscommunication. They would also link a video that had this information in it. They would post this statement on their website, and they would also post it on a post in her YouTube channel.
Nah.
Exactly.
Nah.
And they were hoping to make her life
what
hell
is
for
going on here?
attempting to leave their company. This post was such a vile, disgusting breach of privacy that you'd see Twitter remove it because it violates their terms of service. But this wouldn't make Wactor back down. Oh no, they would take control of her account again, and in order to avoid getting the post removed by Twitter, they wouldn't attach the statement this time, instead linking a YouTube video that contained all the doxing information.
Oh god, I hope this ends with that she sued them for everything they got, because god damn. This is the most insane shite I've ever heard an agency do. What?
Anyway, but thankfully, through the efforts of mass reports by her fans, this video would also be removed from YouTube for violating their terms of
thank
service.
God.
It contained
Thank
personal
God.
information. It was disgusting. And if that wasn't enough, they also took control of her YouTube channel, and as I said, they would make a post with all this info, and as you can see here, this post is no longer available. This is actually the first time I personally see a YouTube community post get moderated like this. That already says a lot.
Who was running that company? Children, seems like they were throwing. Yeah, honestly, like, this is what? This is common sense not to do this. What?
Lot. Some people in the community genuinely couldn't believe this. Did we actually just witness a VTuber company not only dox one of their talents, but also show us their government ID, their city, their nationality, like literally everything you need to know about them to stalk them and maybe do horrendous things to them?
Yeah. Like, that's so dangerous. That's so freaking dangerous. Talk about putting her in the worst freaking situation ever. Just because what? They got pissed that she didn't want to work with them anymore? Oh my god. Oh my god. This is why I lose hope for humanity, guys.
Well, yes. And now people were very scared to see what they would do with the other talents. People were leaving the company left and right. Were they going to do this every time?
Nah, this is insane. This is insane.
As they straight up doxed all her personal info, Meika would have a more lighthearted spirit, saying, "Is this the last thing you're going to do while your company falls apart? At least I'm not in the red." Hinting that the company wasn't doing too well financially and that she was
I'm glad she took it well.
Ship, which isn't
they
really
doxed two of them. Yeah. Two of them.
Talent. And she wasted no time whatsoever. On the same day she got doxed, on February 28th, 2023, she held her debut stream of her new
Nah, I love that. Go this girl. Go this girl. I love her. Iconic.
Head held high. I'd be lying to you if I said that it was all fun and games. A couple days later, Meika would admit to the world that she always struggled with the idea that she was a half-C, a term in Japan given to people who are only half Japanese. For most of her life, she was ashamed of this. She felt like the statement by Wactor, which doxed her, was meant to fully target that vulnerability, exposing to the world that she is not Japanese, that she's only half, that she currently lives in a country that's not Japan, even going as far as posting her national ID. Nowhere in this statement did it say that she breached the contract.
Oh, that's sad.
She hasn't. To her, it was clear. The company...
Yeah, I've heard about that. Like, being half Japanese and half something else in Japan is, like, frowned upon for some reason. Like, I've heard that many times. And they think that was going to help the age. Yeah, I don't think they are even using their brains. They are just throwing a tantrum. Honestly, it's like... I have no idea. It's so vindictive and so weird. And like, what? Aren't you supposed to be managing an agency? How is this the response? Clearly something went very wrong in this company. Oh my days.
And the CEO himself were trying to corner her. She would then admit that if this was the old her, not the current her, that she would have probably tried to leave this planet over this. But that now it's different. She has finally gotten to the point where she can accept herself and won't let these cruel people simply win. She would end this by saying that she's now consulting with a lawyer on the matter and that she genuinely thanks her fans for being here. So overall, a horrendous situation
Oh.
that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemies. To dox
No,
someone's
that-
name is already
insane,
ridiculously taboo,
insane.
especially in VTubing, but bro, her national ID, the equivalent of a social security number, like, wow,
Mhm.
that is disgusting. At this point, Wachter had lost a lot of money because of this departure and because they had essentially lost the trust of their entire audience. What would follow is a desperate attempt at them trying to recover what little ounce of reputation they had left, and to the surprise of literally no one, it would end up being pathetic and they would fail miserably.
Uh-oh.
On the 28th of February 2023, the same day they would dox the ever-living shit out of one of their final remaining talents that actually had popularity in their company, Wachter would announce a notice of change in team structure. What this meant is that this whole first wave,
No
second wave
shit.
structure wasn't going to apply anymore, seeing that the majority of their talents had left. The remaining talents would be split based on their language and what they do. And of course, they'd be given a name, similar to how other companies have waves. By this point, you had like maybe 30 members that
The fact that they still have talents is kind of insane to me. Scenario. I'm the CEO of a big-time VTuber agency. A member wants to leave. In order to paint her as the bad guy, I will use her real name, post her home address, her real-life work, her bank card details, her SSN, her family history, and her diaries from where she was 13. This will totally bring in more people to watch my company and keep the other members in line. Victor had no chance. Yeah, like just as you said, it makes no sense. Like, make it make sense. What was going on in the planning? Didn't they have like a meeting? Like somewhere in the line of like going so far to doxing these people, there must have been discussions, right? And not a single person in this agency was like, maybe this isn't a good idea. But what? I can't wait for you to look into Accio Air. Oh my god. Is that also an agency or is it a VTuber? Oh my.
left or something. It was ridiculous. Like, these were the ones that remained. All of these 15 members would be split into different teams, but here's the thing. They would be specifically instructed to have the team name in their name and not have any mention of Wachter in their description or branding. Just
oh
as a
my
reminder,
god.
They hadn't apologized once for anything they've done so far, so this was them essentially saying,
oh my god.
So just take our name out of your description and branding, and let's just pretend like nothing happened. Well, that's not how the world works, Wachter. It just simply doesn't. On April 8th,
I'm honestly so shooked about this. This is, I can't.
Your go-to source for what's happening in Europe. Key decisions that affect our lives are taken every
In fairness, we do not know what was
you.
hanging over their head other than obviously, yeah,
Here
that
is the
too.
latest news on key EU
Oh, imagine
Wachter was
just
supposed
being in this agency and seeing how they deal with people who leave. Nah. Oh my god, the anxiety. These poor people. Accio Air was another agency similar to V-Show. Oh my. Oh my. Why are there so many of these agencies? These evil agencies. What is going on?
to debut a new wave comprised of 2 male VTubers. Yeah, they ended up leaving before the debut. They ended up just
Nah. Before they even debuted, they were like, nah, bye. Honestly, good for them. Good for them.
jumping ship immediately. Good
Nah,
for them.
that's
Wachter
insane.
had to, in the most humiliating way possible, delete their accounts the day after, before even beginning anything. They had essentially spent money on their models, their marketing, their debut stream, all that for nothing. I need to really
Nah,
drive
that's
the
so
point
funny.
home here. This had never in the history of VTubing happened to an agency or a corporation. It was extremely humiliating.
Oh my
And you want
god.
to know what the best part was? Things were only about to get even worse for them. One of the only VTubers that were there from the beginning with Wachter that still were present in 2023 was none other than Mitsurugi Leah, the VTuber I told you to remember from the beginning of the
Oh
video.
right, the
Well,
Leah
see,
one.
The thing with her was fans were spreading a very nasty rumor about her, and it was starting to gain a lot of traction. Those rumors said that she was sleeping with the CEO of Wachter because she was getting some
What?
preferential treatment. It seemed like she was getting the cooler projects, the cooler events, even though back when the second wave was still around, they wouldn't be getting anything close. Well, barely a week after Wachter had revealed the national ID number of one of their talents, she would announce her graduation because the harassment had gotten way too much for her. What was more tragic here is that this statement was written by her family, because according to them, a few days before the statement was even released, she had attempted to leave this planet.
Oh.
Her family would go on to say that she'd be ceasing all activities
What the hell?
as Mitsurugi, and it didn't seem like she was going to continue as an independent entertainer. This was it for her. Now look, we don't know if she actually did have relations with the CEO. Would that be hard to believe in a company like Wactor? No. I can definitely see the CEO saying, hey, I'll give you more stuff and not dox you publicly if you give me what I want, for example. I mean,
honestly.
come on, it's not that hard to imagine. But because of this, Wactor had essentially lost one of its final founding members. And while I'm sure that they were very heartbroken at this news, soon enough, this would actually end up being the least of their worries. Things were getting
That's so
comically bad for the
sad.
company. It was ridiculous. False ID sums it up perfectly, so watch.
And now back to Wactor, a VTuber agency that has produced 40 different VTubers, but now at the time of this recording only has 4 active VTubers.
This was uploaded on September 25th, 2023. And yes, you heard that right. They had over 40 VTubers at some point, and now they were just down to 4 active.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Because as early as 2022, with the majority
Oh my god. Look at these dates, guys. Look at them.
Especially after the public national
Everyone's just leaving. Good. Good for them.
14
Leave this
VTubers
shite.
under Wactor had not tweeted or streamed or done anything for prolonged periods of time. Now, based on the official Wactor audition pages, we know that every VTuber that signs up with them has a 1-year contract to start. Seeing that all these disappearances exceeded 1 year, so the contract, we could just assume they're not with the company anymore, but the company didn't bother announcing it. And
Oh
now, of
my
course, you would
god.
mistakenly think, Mujin, things can't get worse from here, right? Like, come on. They already doxed 2 talents publicly. They had 40 VTubers, now they have 4. Can things
What
truly
more can
get worse than
happen?
this? Oh,
Please.
Oh, buddy.
Oh,
We're not
no.
even halfway
Oh,
through
no.
the iceberg.
Oh no. What is going on?
Vi har skapat en unik smakupplevelse.
Like, how can it be
Så
worse?
att du kan skapa stunder att minnas.
How?
Ta dig tid.
2024 was going to be a new year for Wactor. On January 16th, they would officially rebrand. They would no longer be called Wactor, but would become 910 Inc.
Oh my god!
Apparently, the way their logo looks is meant to resemble
They're freaking purring in my ear. Thank you for the subby, Zero. Thank you. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? My name twin.
the word cute in Japanese. But I personally like 910 because it sounds as soulless as this company actually is. With the rebrand came a new website and, of course, auditions. The one thing that they love to consistently
Oh
do
god,
for
they are
years.
continuing
They
with the
didn't get to
VTubers,
celebrate
huh?
this rebranding for barely a month before disaster struck in the heart of the company. Remember how they had like barely 4 talents remaining at their company after losing like 36? Yeah, well, on February 2024, as the entire VTubing industry was absolutely shocked at what was
Oh,
going on with
right.
Sanji and Selen Tatsuki,
Oh, God.
single remaining
This is
member of
insane. I'm
Wactor
good.
would
I'm
pretty
glad
much
to hear
leave the
that. I'm
company
glad to
and publish
guys.
a statement
I'm glad
revealing
you're
to us just
here.
how
I haven't seen you in a
inhumane the
while.
working conditions in this company truly were. The first talent, Nimorima Charo, would say that she was forced by Wactor to do things that were not in her contract. And when she complained, they would simply change the contract as she was already working for them, which is literally illegal, and that she's been putting up with unreasonable pressure and instructions for a long time, to the point where she had to take medication in order to simply sleep.
What?
Another talent, Himaragi Ageha, would make this statement, saying
Oh no. Here comes the 6 allegations. I was honestly just waiting for this. I was like, if it gets worse, it must come to this. Well, I usually sleep during the day. Ah, mood. That's such a mood. And very valid, honestly. I'm glad you're here, though. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you for the sub again. On my days.
that while under Wactor, she was forced to perform work not included in the contract, same as Nimorima Chamo, the amount of staff work was clearly not proportional to the amount of money involved. Within the company, she would experience fearful and high-pressure behavior as well as sexual or power harassment. She would even receive instructions that prohibit taking prescribed psychiatric medication. She would say, "Until now, I did not..."
What? What? How? Ooh. I'm like so confused to how this can even happen, you know? Like, this is honestly so scary.
Not have the courage to press charges because I owed my agency the money I needed for my activities. However, I found myself in a situation where I was under mind control of the office management for a lengthy period of time and reached my mental and physical limits. I think this is a bad translation. Mind control could be anything, like gaslighting or whatever, but you get the point. More specifically, I suffered from severe withdrawal symptoms when I stopped taking my psychotic medication. This led to repeated self-harm and becoming dependent on—
Yeah, don't ever stop taking your meds because a random shitty agency tells you to. Oh, I have no words. I have no words.
on alcohol. Finally, in March of the year before last, I attempted to leave this planet.
Okay, this is the second person that we know of in this company that has tried to leave this plane. This is starting to get very, very depressing and very, very worrisome. Oh my days, I hope these people are doing great now. I honestly hope they are fine.
But failed, and was yet given a directive order to continue my activities. I now suffer from a conversion disorder and will be hospitalized in the future because I have difficulty walking and speaking. Because of this, I have decided that it is no longer possible for me to establish a trusting relationship with my office. Bro, what do you mean a trusting relationship? Prisoners are treated better. Regarding the accusations above, we have already consulted with relatives and lawyers and recorded and videotaped everything.
Nah,
In the future,
this
we
is
intend
insane.
contacting the
This is
company
actually
through our lawyers,
insane.
including payment of debts. So yeah, absolutely dystopian, like ridiculous. The fact that you would force someone to not take their medication and force them to work after attempting to leave the planet, I just can't understand what the hell's going on.
Asana helps your team manage any kind
Guys,
of Try it
like, is this actually real? Is this actually happening? Am I... What?
I'm telling you, my jaw dropped multiple times researching this video. Another talent would also leave the company by the name of Kobe Ururu, saying that he couldn't stand how people were treated in the company, including himself, specifying that he had witnessed many VTubers suffer so much damage
Guys.
because of this company.
Oh,
And finally,
wrong
we have
button.
Tenjo
Guys,
Ryuga,
honestly. How can it be so hard to have a decent company? How can it be so hard to be a decent person? I mean, you don't even have to be a good person. You just have to be a decent person. Like, it can't be that hard, right? Am I missing something? Am I missing something?
expressing the same things, more specifically when it comes to the contracts.
Sometimes being decent is too much for some people. I don't understand. I don't understand. How?
They had pointed out to management that this is a fake contract. This can't, like, legally apply, right? Well, whenever one of the talents would ask questions about the contract or have second thoughts, they'd be repeatedly threatened by Wactor. This, much like everything else they were doing, was extremely illegal. Again, I'd like to specify this was all happening as the Selen Tatsuki controversy was taking place with Nijisanji, so people weren't really able to give this the attention.
Actually, how do you say your name? Aviandra. Is it like Kione? Kihone? Kione? Kion? I feel like I'm butchering your name so hard. I want to say Kione, but I don't think that's right. Oh, I like Kyo. Kyo is cute. I'm gonna call you Kyo.
It deserves the fact that this company wasn't really established to make money. The CEO practically made it to take advantage of people, to make them go in debt, unable to leave, and to simply physically and mentally abuse them whenever he liked.
What? Why? What? Isn't there like an easier way to go if you want to do that? Why start a VTuber agency? What? Oh! Oh my god! Jesus Christ! Why does the purring scare me? Why does the purring scare me? Thank you so much for the sub! Thank you, thank you! Oh my god! Welcome in, Sky King's thief. You are now a cumbercat. Scared of a bird. Listen, I'm like, I get scared of everything. Honestly, if you're here long enough, you're gonna see. Like, you should have been here when I played Silent Hill for the first time. We still have to finish that one, but oh my god. The Scream compilation I can do from that video alone. Yay, the moats! Look at you guys! The 0 moats! Let's go, let's go! Yeah, it was 5 a.m. for me too.
It was absolutely disgusting, and they essentially had lost all of their talent. No surprise there. But as you've seen so far,
What's Dead Space? Isn't that like a space, like you're in outer space? And there's that guy from that zombie TV show.
video, this company is so pathetic and desperate to stay relevant that they would literally do anything just to stay afloat with a crumb of relevancy. A few months would pass by, and Wactor's newest strategy in order to gain some sort of relevancy again was to commit yet another frowned upon industry taboo that no
oh my
one had
god,
done
what did they do now?
Seeing that they had like no talent
What
left,
did they do
decided
now?
to bring in new actors to revive dead characters, starting with Mitsurugi Leah. They would reopen the channel, would reuse the same.
No way! They just put another person behind the VTuber? Nah.
Model, but would have a different voice behind her. By the end of 2024, they would officially open
And also welcome Red, welcome Red. I'm glad to see you in chat. How are you?
auditions to revive dead VTubers with new actors. This is genuinely one of the worst things you can do. Look, if you don't watch VTubers, maybe you wouldn't understand the gravity of the situation. But I mean, just think, when you watch an anime and really enjoy someone's voice and then they get recast halfway through a season, you'll probably be pissed, right?
Yeah.
Think of it that way.
That's kind of insane.
This isn't just a voice actor. This is an entire personality. This is someone that you'll buy merch of and will support whenever they do new projects. And now they're being bastardized with a new actor, showing you how much the company doesn't give a single shit about them and therefore doesn't give a shit
that's
about
insane.
you.
That's insane.
Taboos didn't mean anything for Wactor. And judging
Guys, would you notice if I just put another person behind the zero? I'm just gonna put my like dad to control the model. Are you sure? Are you sure? Maybe he's just like me, yeah. Oh my days. That's kinda insane. Because like the fans that followed her, right, was from the old person. And now they just put another one behind it. It's gonna be completely different. Your voice and sleepy demeanor. I have a sleepy demeanor. Aww. Oh my god. My cat have stuck his freaking paw. BRB. Sasori, what are you doing? There we go. Why does he want to go under the sofa where he doesn't fit? Ah. Yeah, that's kind of like, this is so insane. Because even if the new person tries to like imitate the old Leah, it's not going to be the same, right? Yeah. Listen, my cats are so funny. Like, I have 3 cats, right? As soon as I start stream, they become crazy. They have zoomies, they're gonna annoy each other, they're gonna relocate everything in my room. And as soon as I turn off stream, they go to sleep. Someone, please explain this to me. Like, my lovely children, why do you do this to me? My cats are also loud. I'm just sad you guys can't like hear them because of my bad mic, but you know. Otherwise you would hear Kiros all the time. He has a habit of just going around and screaming. I love my cats. Cats are the best. But they are a handful. They are a handful, especially these two boys. They are insane.
By the view count of Mitsurugi today in 2025, when they had just streamed 2 days ago, getting 500 total views on a live stream of 2 hours means that she probably had maybe 10 live viewers. Okay, fine, maybe 50. It's safe to say things aren't going well, and I can't imagine what the new voice actress is going through right now. Because even though Wactor changed their name to become Cute Inc. or whatever, the management didn't change, and we have proof of that. Look, by 2025, it was already a miracle that this company even existed. But it seemed like through partnerships and maybe selling some...
I love the high effort rule segment of... Thank you, thank you. I feel like that should be enough, honestly. Don't make me write a whole page of rules, please.
private shares, they were able to still remain. And unfortunately for literally every human being on Earth, they were still trying their best to succeed as a VTuber corporation. Seeing that they had lost most of their talent, they tried their best to recruit already established content creators like Devil Nya. You see,
oh
Devil
my God,
wanted to make some friends and collaborate more often in the VTubing space. This is kind of hard to do as a VTuber, especially in the Japanese scene, where most people only do so within their own corporate boundaries. So she expressed interest in joining Wactor, and Wactor welcomed her. Both Wactor and Devil had announced to the world that she was planning to debut, and as they were planning that debut, Devil, in a now deleted tweet on March 9th, 2025,
what the hell?
announced to the world that upon further consideration, she changed her mind and will
well, thank God. Thank God. Don't go close to this shite. Don't even touch it with a stick. Wait, there's no rule about breaking out. No, you can break out whenever you want, but you seem to like it down there. Just saying, Red. Just saying.
Not be joining Wactor. Probably the best.
Oh my God! I almost spilled freaking cola over my desk again.
Decision, except saying that it was a very scary world, most likely referencing Wactor's past actions. This pissed off Wactor so much. On the same day, they would make a statement in which they try their best to convince the entire world that they're actually the victims here. Now, of course, Wactor can't really make statements without leaking something, of course. In this case, thankfully, there weren't any names, national ID numbers, locations, or anything, but they would leak a Discord message from Devil that was sent to, I guess, one of the managers or higher-ups of Wactor with her.
Why do these people not learn from previous disasters? There's something so wrong with this agency that I'm like, it hurts me physically to just witness this with my eyeballs.
Her saying, after seeing how things are, I do not feel like the others here are serious about their VTubing activities. As such, I do not see the point in continuing in this environment. They were essentially trying to make her out to be a mean girl, someone who was insulting their talent and their company, thinking that she was above everyone else.
Oh my God!
People knew better than to just trust Wactor for their word. Their track record was
rather
and for good reason. In a now deleted tweet, Devil would quote that statement with
something
the actual full
in pondness.
Remember how she said that she wanted to join an agency to make friends and collab with people? Yeah, well, in her full explanation, she would say that she felt like most VTubers at Wactor did VTubing as a side hustle, that they didn't do it full time. It wasn't what she was looking for. She just didn't fit there. And in that context, it's very reasonable. Wactor would again look like complete and utter pathetic clowns, and the top reply to their post would be, well, if they make such a threatening announcement, it will only reinforce what they're saying about this scary world, referencing Devil Nya's tweet. The second top reply said, don't even think about doxing her, you bastards. The whole thing was very funny.
Oh my God.
Damaged their company reputation when no one had done that except
honestly, like, it's so in the gutter, no one can even damage it.
Said, just like a cockroach, you can never get rid of Wactor. Even after being embarrassed, humiliated, made out to be one of the most pathetic VTuber agencies I've ever seen, in the summer of 2025, they would come back in the public limelight to prove to us that even though they've already gone very low, they can
just die. Just freaking die.
Lower. On August 30th, 2025, Wactor would post a press release on their website saying that they had sued 4
What the?
individuals for serious past breaches of contract, so previous talents, and 1, with the courts ordering all of those talents.
Why
to
would
pay
I look
over
at the
10
ads when
million
there's you?
yen
Oh,
to
thank you,
Wactor, which means
Kyo.
over $60,000. Now, of course, when this news was initially posted to Reddit and other social media, most people were
What
quick
the-
to blame Japan for its very weird laws, like the defamation law, which says a person who defames another by alleging facts in public shall, regardless of whether such
Oh,
facts
just
are
this is
true
such a
or
headache
false,
as
be
well.
punished by imprisonment with or without work for
I
life.
mean, I have no idea how this works. If, like, we say, if I, who lives in Sweden, wants to join a Japanese agency, is that under the Japanese laws, or is it under the Swedish laws, or is it a mix of both? Because I'm telling you, the difference between Swedish laws and Japanese laws are probably very, very, very much difference, you know? Like, how does this work? If you sign with like a Japanese agency, then it sounds to me that it should be under Japanese law as well, but I'm not sure since I'm like not a Japanese citizen. I think it depends on where it was conducted. Yeah, this is so tricky, guys. Like, be sure if you ever join any agency, be sure to like read that freaking document 10 times and 50 times with a lawyer. Like, please, be careful. Be so fucking careful about these things. But you understand you broke Canadian laws. Oh, not surprised.
More than 3 years or a fine of not more than 500,000 yen. So yes, you read that right. If you're working a job in Japan and your boss touches you without your consent and you tweet about it or
Zero part of pond agency perks being pond. Yes, pond water is good for you. It's good for the skin, I promise.
talk about it to others, even if you manage to convince the police to put him in jail, he can still sue you for defamation because you ruined his reputation. So of course, most comments thought that, oh, you know, these lawsuits were in Japan, they were taking advantage of Japanese laws. Japan's clearly the problem here, right?
Well, that's
But here's
interesting.
what shocked the f out of me. Only 2 of these lawsuits were in Japan. One was in Spain, and one was in Paraguay. Unfortunately, due to Wactor doxing Hina Misora, we can guess that she's the one in Paraguay that was sued by them and lost her lawsuit against them. The press release
What?
details that this involves 1 Japanese male, 1 Japanese female, 1 Spanish female, and 1 Paraguay female. Some people have guessed that the defendants are Hina Misora, Luna Rurin, Tenjo Yuga, and Uminobushi Clara. And if that wasn't bad enough, Wactor would say that they were preparing to file additional lawsuits against similar breaches of contract using these rulings as precedents. This means that they're going after even more talents that had breached their contracts according to them in the past. No one was going to be safe. The Japanese female that lost the lawsuit was someone who had said that she was sexually harassed at the company.
Oh
So not
my
only was she sexually
God.
harassed in the
Just, oh my God, just burn them to the ground, please. Please.
company according to her, but now she has to pay them a huge sum of money. And you want to know the worst thing? All these lawsuits, including the Spanish and Paraguayan one, have judgments that can be enforced by force, such as by seizing property. This means that these poor VTubers that were barely paid a cent under this dystopian company now have to pay them over $10,000 and can
What? How does this even make sense? Oh my
risk
God.
losing their own property because of that. This is so bad. And I really have no idea how they could have won outside of Japan. I don't know which kind of lawyers they're hiring, maybe the same lawyers Nintendo hires. But if what they're saying is true, other companies such as Nijisanji, for example, can go after their previous talents simply for speaking out, making them pay huge amounts of money and pretty much using legal extortion. Not enough people are talking about this. This is actually dystopian. I'm just completely shocked. I
This
really
is
hope the
insane.
people that they
This is
sued that now
insane.
have to pay them over 60
I can't even imagine the amount of anxiety these poor people must go through because of this disgusting freaking company. Oh my
$1,000
days.
can find a solution. I hope that they're doing okay, and I hope that the freaks at Wactor never win another lawsuit again.
Honestly.
God. Anyway, now you know that this company unfortunately still exists, and that with every passing day they're doing a better
How? How?
And better job at being the worst company you've ever heard of. Please be careful out there. Never sign a contract without hiring a lawyer. I don't care how much it costs. Just please hire a lawyer.
Honestly.
Don't get scammed.
Honestly.
Stay safe out there. Thank you so much for watching. Until
Oh my god, this is absolutely freaking insane.
I'll see you in the next video.
And how are they still an agency?
Mwah.
I have no words. I have no words. I have no words. Give Mujin all the love. Great video as usual. Oh my god. Oh my days. This is insane. Absolutely insane. Also makes me kind of sad. Like, why is this shit happening?